It's September 12th, so we'll call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the SVUESD. Our first agenda item is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you wish, I invite you to stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, agenda item 2 is a statement of intent for campus safety. And with the understanding that one of our agenda items later on today regards an executive session for the discussion of security and emergency response measures, just wanted to make a statement up front in advance of any public comments. In that, one of the duties that the board takes seriously is the safety of its students, for sure. The model of using SROs that we've been trying to use over the last few years to include predating the merger of the various elementary school districts, it isn't sustainable. It's not equitable in that we would need to rely on Bennington Police Department to staff our schools in Bennington, relying on the Sheriff's Department to staff those other schools. And as of late, there's just been one sheriff available to do that. So with the recognition that we were not able to equitably use the SROs, this board is dedicated to looking at other options for school safety. That will be what's coming up later. I anticipate that part of the conversation a little bit later will be details to point out the fact that the SVUESD is not an outlier in its lack of law enforcement on campus. In fact, those numbers are dwindling, excuse me, both throughout Vermont and nationwide in recent years. And whereas I suppose at one point you could say that SROs were the trend nationwide, that has really reversed itself over time. So just wanted to put that out as a statement of intent and clarity. So now we move on to public comment, agenda item 3. We have a number of folks here from Bennington Cares. It's always nice to see you. And I'm not sure who we have, if anyone online, but Superintendent.
There appears to be maybe one member of the public, but they understand for security issues, your mic is off. You would have to raise your hand, go down to the reaction bar at the bottom and hit raise your hand, and then I would be able to unmute you if there's anyone from the public electronically that wishes to join us.
And certainly anyone who's present, if you wish to say anything. Okay, great. Thanks.
Not seeing the hand raised, but I'll explain that. In the bottom right corner, you see the word reactions. So if you click on that and you'll see a hand symbol, if you click on the hand, it's showing my screen and I could unmute you.
Okay, great, thank you. So,
oh, wait, I got it. All right.
My name's Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen. This is Chris Murphy talking. The floor is yours. If you just let us know your name and your town of residence, please.
Kathleen Cloud, Shaftesbury.
Thank you. The floor is yours if you'd like to make public comment, Kathleen.
She's muted again.
Okay. All right. If you would like to share anything, we'll give you a little wiggle room. Just raise your hand icon, please, if you would. But otherwise, we'll continue on to agenda item 4, which is the consent agenda. Sandy Foster, who's a board member who couldn't be here tonight, did point out one change in the minutes, stating that this board had taken a vote to approve the policy on unhomed students. The minutes state that they passed unanimously, but Sandy noted that she actually did not vote to approve the motion. So if the minutes could be changed to reflect that, please. I would also entertain any other suggested additions or corrections to the minutes. So hearing none, and with that correction noted, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as published. Thank you, Glenn. Susan, was that a second? Thank you very much. Any discussion on approving the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Yeah.
Jeff abstains. Motion passes. Thank you very much. That moves us on to finance, and I just clicked off my agenda. That moves us on to finance. I think as of this morning, the treasurer's report for August had not yet been posted. I don't know about this afternoon.
I do not have it.
Okay. So we will pass that. Unless, do you know, Superintendent Culkeen, do you know if Director Gordon has anything to share with us regarding finance?
She handed me 2 warrants that you signed.
We'll take care of those. So with the warrants that were published as part of the packet, I would entertain a motion to approve those warrants as published. Thank you, Susan. Second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Chriselle. So we have a first and a second. Any discussion on approving these warrants that were included in the packet? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Get these rolling while we're having the rest of our meeting. Thank you. All right, that brings us to agenda item 6, operations. I see that Director Anderson is running out of the room.
That's how much I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's under operations, but it really is the net report that I presented, which, when the agenda came out, Director Anderson was in a panic. She goes, I don't know what that is. So that's, yeah, it's the New England School Development Council proposal that I presented to you last month to read. And I'm asking the board to approve. There was a question about the cost. It's $29,000, but the bid requires what basically exceed $40,000, not 15.
Okay. That takes care of one of my questions. Superintendent Culkeen, so I read through what you'd given us at the last board meeting. 2 questions. One feels minute, one is just is a large question. The minute question that I have is in section 2, it talks about that one of the services that NESDEC will do is give us a 10-year projection for attendance. Is that feasible? Is that realistic to
So we always used to receive 10-year projections. We
Okay.
probably have not, I'd say, in 5 years. The gentleman that used to do them for the finance department has since retired, or retired 5 years ago. And my understanding of how they proceeded with that is they'd look at Bennington County birth rates and do projections out for who would be coming 5 years from now and then project it up in there. I recall back when we used to have this done, they would say they always had a high degree of confidence that it was accurate for 5 years, but beyond that, it is a best estimate.
Okay. And the other question I had before I open up for the rest of the board to ask questions. Practically speaking, what's the information you hope to get from this study?
So I had to frame the question to the New England School Development Council to get the initial bid, right? And then they will meet with all stakeholders to see what they may want to look at in the study. What do I want to look at is, as I said, a question that we've been asking for multiple years, at least back to Consolidation Act under Act 46, or probably even before that. We operate 6 elementary schools. We operate them all in the same grade configuration. There's some serious things that we need to look. Do we need to continue to operate 6 elementary schools? If we do we have the same grade configuration in each one? Do we identify one as an early learning center? Do we identify one as a magnet school that is open enrollment everywhere that focus on STEM or arts and sciences or any other, combination that we could think of? So that's best use of how we use the buildings, how we align. Is the best use to continue to operate all schools in the same grade configuration? Should we be looking at things, looking at attendance zones and, and realigning those and not just within Bennington and open up enrollment to, but the board would be a stakeholder, so they would be interviewed by the New England School Development Council on what would you want to think. I hope community members would be stakeholders who would be interviewed, as well as the administrators and staff.
Okay. Board members, anyone have any other questions?
I just have one. If they did that and changed the schools into different programs, how would that be busing from one school to the next?
Obviously, busing would be, a concern. We have that right now with our school choice. We have school choice, but if you are awarded a slot in another school, then you're responsible for your own transportation. There is the question that's been raised about whether that is equitable. So, the busing is a factor, just like building capacity.
I know this is a question that the board has asked since merging. Curious, has this the desire to do this, has it come from any other constituents or entities in town across the district that have also said, hey, it'd be great if you could look at the way
Not recently that I could cite specifically, Scott. Certainly among the central office administrators, the desire for a separate early education center is frequently discussed. Have I had members of the community say things to me like, or parents that they would really love a STEM magnet school? Yes, but this is more of a, a combination of comments, nothing formal.
Any other questions? So in that case, since the cost of this report would fall under the bid requirement of $40,000, then we can move on this. So I would entertain a motion to approve the superintendent's request to have NESDEC run this study. So, thank you, Scott. Who's the second? Thank you, Marcel. Okay, we have first and a second. Any discussions on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. I always say aye and then I raise my hand. You can raise your hand too. I'll see that. I just realized I do that.
Thank God. Next step for that is I notify New England School Development Council that we've agreed, and then we'll be setting up a schedule for meeting with stakeholders. And then my understanding of the process is that they'll come back with the focus based on their meeting with stakeholders.
Okay, great. Thanks. So that brings us to executive session, to item number 7, which is an executive session. I do want to note that there is an executive session under agenda item 8 for a different purpose that we do not have to hold tonight. So when we go into, presuming we go into executive session for agenda item 7, when we come out, we will be jumping directly into agenda item 9. So with that said, bless you. I would entertain a motion that this board move into executive session. Bless you. Pursuant to 1 VSA subsection 313, section 10, which allows for a closed discussion of security or emergency response measures, disclosure of which could jeopardize public safety. And for that, I'd like to invite the superintendents and Dr. Milani in. And Superintendent Colkeen, is there anyone else that you think would be reasonable for us to bring in?
Nick Galt is here electronically.
Perfect.
Oh, he's here.
Oh, he says.
That's so nerve. Yeah, he's gonna hang up. So let me ask you this, just practically speaking, we have a full house tonight. So where will we do this?
We can leave them here and we could go to the small conference room. I'll just leave this running. So
Okay.
just so you know, you'll all be on.
The camera or the microphone?
Let's at least mute that.
Yeah, we'll mute it. And I don't have anybody here from the committee electronically, so we're free to, it'd be easier for us to go into the small conference room.
To exit executive session, please. So moved. I think we'll call that, Scott, any discussions on exiting executive session? Hearing none, all those in favor of exiting executive session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? That motion carries. We're out. So as the agenda indicates, there's going to be some action requested. So I would entertain a motion that this board hire at least 3 campus safety officers to be assigned at the discretion of the SVSU safety director. That's the motion, please. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Glenn. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Just a statement on that. So the 3 campus safety officers will have a presence in all 6 of our elementary schools. The specifics of the assignment is going to be based on a number of factors at the discretion of Dr. Milani. Great, thank you. As I indicated before, there is no agenda item 8 today, so we're going to jump to agenda item 9, which is the superintendent's report, which is why we have all of our principals here. So first, thank you.
Which is agenda item A, the recovery pillar 3 academic achievement. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to the SVSU Director of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment, Melissa Semple.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Just going to take me a moment because I don't have my cohort here to drive for me. So thank you. I am indulging. Need to screen share, sorry. No, I moved. Thank you.
That in security, so.
Security is good. Right, Vic?
Right.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
Raise your hand if you can read that from the background.
I was just gonna say,
I was thinking that, my notes would be.
yeah. Thank you for being prepared. Is that a little better?
That's one.
Yeah. Could you want to?
Can I do this? Well,
This. So page one, what I tried to do, because it's a compilation of giving you a lot of information. You'll see at the very top, I gave you some page numbers, because I think it would be important to be able to follow along. And I'm sure that any questions that you have throughout, we would answer. I know you have a very packed agenda, but if you give them to the board chair, we would get answers as soon as possible. So we have the definitions and a state assessment update. Of course, in Vermont, we always give you the information about our growth and our proficiency. Because both are extraordinarily important. We want our students to grow and we want to make sure that they reach proficiency and beyond. We also, that's achievement. We have our continuous improvement plan goals. And then I have a wonderful panel here who's going to talk specifically about what's going on in their schools to achieve those goals. So the resource guide with definitions are always important to kind of bring us back because we speak a lot of edu-speech. We're inside the Beltway info and that's not fair. And so I need you to know that where I got the information from and where we have a description of the screening tools we have. One of them is called FastBridge. And we use those assessments for math and reading in K1 and 2. And then we have MAP or NWEA. And we have those in grades 3 and up. It's a summative nationally normed assessment tool in math and reading. When we're talking about growth, we're talking about growth percentiles to understand how changes in student scores compared to other changes of their peers across the nation, because both of those tools are used nationwide and we get those nationally normed scores. The percentile is a norm-based information. There will be a median percentile you'll see in just a few moments. And a little bit more about those. And the state testing information, the latest from August. Went to a state training and found out that this fall, they would like us to give parents the individual reports. Those are not quite available, so I know it is considered fall, even though it was such a beautiful day. But we're just developing a plan on how we'll get them out, and they're not even quite ready for us to print to get out to families. But this is an update that they are coming very soon to families this fall. We cannot share, as it says above, until the dashboard is given to us in December is the goal that they've given us, and I check it on a weekly basis and update both Superintendent Colkeen and Assistant Superintendent Boudreau for any changes to that. So that's coming. Page 2 is just really all about what's coming down for the state of Vermont and what will be. This is also on our website on About Us and Reports. So if you go to svsu.org and About Us and Reports, this is where you'll see all of this information about the annual snapshot. Again, this is the spoiler alert for something that they're saying is coming in December, but I thought you should be aware of all of that and where it is. But we want to give you, how did we do last year? So, academically, we start off with growth scores. We have fall to spring, our benchmarks for FastBridge. And you can see in the key, I think is helpful, that we're looking at flat growth, modest growth, typical growth, and then aggressive growth. We're always shooting for your typical or your aggressive. And if you look at kindergarten and first grade, which is how FastBridge combines the growth scores for that particular reading mark of early reading, you can see that most of our students were typical growth. In second grade in reading, you can see we slightly edged out and they're more aggressive growth. In mathematics for kindergarten and first grade, for that measure of early reading, we landed with most of our students with typical growth. And also for our second grade grades. Then we jump into our different tool called MAP or NWA. I'm on page 4, sorry. And you're gonna see certain things like the median percentile. So where did most of our students fall for norm to growth? And we'll talk about reading first. And to bring it back to what I was talking about before, flat growth would be in the red and orange, typical growth would be in the yellow, and very aggressive growth would be in the green and blue. And these are our reading scores. Again, this is the median where most of the students fell, which would be typical. And then we have some flat growth in 4th and 5th. This is about reading. You're an excellent driver, lady. For the schools that have a 6th grade in the SVUESD, those are those scores right here. Those do not include the scores for Mount Anthony Middle School. So this is just for this board. The math scores are the same. Again, you can see we've got some typical growth, some flat, and some typical in mathematics for growth. Now switching gears to how we're doing in achievement scores or proficiencies. The national norms that we have right here for Fastbridge. For reading for kindergarten, they do break it out because again, it's every other kindergartner that they're looking at for norms. And what they give us is that percentile, if you scroll down just a little bit more, I'm sorry. In the middle, that black bar is where we fell in the 50th percentile, which is average. And you can also see if you scroll just a little bit more, I tried to give you, again, how we achieved throughout the year for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade in reading for achievement. All right. Trying to stick with the same measure so the graphs look somewhat the same for everybody. We have math for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And again, that bar in the middle is that average or 50th percentile where students fell for fall, winter, and spring. Thank you. Then we have, last but not least, we have our reading and our math achievement. Just a reminder that the yellow in the median was that typical that we'd be looking for. The typical or aggressive is our goals. Go down for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then our math for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th for our schools. We always tie these to our last year of our continuous improvement plan, which can be found on our website. I wanted to show that there. And for academics, our goals that we're looking at are ELA, which is goal number 1. Math, which is goal number 3, and science, which is goal number 4. We should be having more of those science results coming from 5th grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade. So this board would be interested in 5th grade and 8th grade. In December is the goal that they've given me that those results will be out. And now I respectfully turn it over to the very first principal that's going to talk about their school is Dr. Richard O'Brien.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for that. So the 3 goals that Bennington Elementary have for the 23-24 school year are as follows. By June 2024, at least 50% of Bennington Elementary 3rd grade students will be proficient in foundational standards linked to the SVSU ELA standard curriculum as demonstrated by the spring 2023 Vermont CAP scores. Goal 2. By June 2024, the Bennington Elementary School System for identifying and progress monitoring students will result in a decrease in the number of behavioral referrals by 5% collected during class time as documented in SWIS. And goal number 3, by June 2024, at least 35% of all Bennington Elementary third grade students will be proficient in mathematics standards linked to the SVSU math curriculum and demonstrated by spring 2023 Vermont CAPS course. Some of the planned steps that we have at Benel are as follows. There will be a continued focus on the implementation of the science of reading, or SOR, with support from the school ELA coach and 3 interventionists. All new teachers will receive training and coaching, as well as a mentor. Next, there will be a continued focus on the implementation of Second Step, which is the primary resource for our social emotional learning platform, or SEL. And finally, there will be a continued focus on the implementation of conceptual math concepts with a focus on Tier 1, supported by the school math coach. This year, the district will be implementing Bridges, the new primary resource. So at this time, that concludes Bennington Elementaries, and I'll pass it on to my colleague from Shasberry and Woodford High.
Thank you, board. So Shasberry, I'll do Shasberry first up on the agenda or on the presentation. We looked at projected growth rates both in math for both math and ELA. And by June 2024, we're looking for 80% of our students in grades 3 through 6 to meet the projected growth rates in ELA. And similar in math, looking for 75% of students in grades 3 through 6 to meet projected growth rates on the MAP, which is the measured academic progress. Our second goal was around social emotional and behavior. And by June 2024, we were looking for a 10% decrease in our moderate, high risk and externalizing behaviors at school, while continuing to maintain a percentage of students at small risk for our SWIS officer referrals at 5% or less. And some of the action steps that we put in place most recently is we've added the English language arts and a math teacher for the upper grades to do that Tier 2 intervention, which has been a great addition to Shasberry. We also have a new master schedule where we have ELA, math, and uninterrupted first instruction time, as well as identified intervention times for every grade level. And we have identified purposeful collaboration time between professional staff, which the staff really appreciates and has been very effective the last couple of years. Woodford, that's the principal of Woodford as well. Our goals are very similar. You'll see we have 70% of our students achieving normed growth on MAP scores from the fall to the spring of 2024 in ELA. And then I'm going to skip to goal 3 because it's math. We have 70% of our students achieving norm growth MAP scores from fall to spring in mathematics. And then goal 2, again, social emotional behavior. We want our students to understand and apply universal characteristic decisions when faced with bullying, cheating, and other poor behaviors. We want our principal discipline referral notices to reduce by 10% over the school year. And we will track that using similar systems that we use for the district, which is SWIS. And some of our action steps that we're doing at Woodford is continued work with the Hill, the science of reading, like all our district schools are doing, and utilizing the new school counselor for social emotional student support in small groups and individual sessions, and the implementation of the new Bridges math curriculum, Tier 1 first instruction with fidelity, and working with our district math coach to support the staff around that. Thank you, and I think I'll go over to start.
Hi, everybody. Molly Star Continuous Improvement Plan Goal number 1, by June 2024, 65% of Molly Stark Elementary School learners in grades 3 to 5 will meet or exceed their growth norms in ELA as identified by the measures of academic progress or the MAP scores. Our action steps to reach that goal will be the reading interventionist at Molly Stark will identify learners that need ELA support and create a schedule to deliver targeted interventions to those students daily. We also have a new literacy coach. She will work with all teachers to support best practices and provide coaching to all ELA teachers. Our second continuous improvement plan goal, number 2, by June 2024, Molly Stark Elementary School student population will reflect the following. 50% or more of the student population will demonstrate low-risk internalizing behaviors as measured by the SRSSIE. And the next point is 50% or more of the student population will demonstrate low-risk externalizing behaviors as measured by the SRSSIE. And the action steps to take, we will take to reach that goal. Stakeholders at Molly Stark will focus on the social emotional needs of our students by using the second step curriculum and restorative practices that align with our Molly Stark behavior flow chart, expectation matrix, and behavior definitions. Teachers that need support in delivering second step curriculum and facilitating restorative practices will be matched up with a social worker, clinician, or school counselor to collaborate on meaningful implementation. And our last continuous improvement plan, goal number 3, by June 2024, 65% of Molly Stark elementary school learners will meet or exceed their growth norms in math as identified by the measures of academic progress or MAP scores. And the action steps taken for that, we added on-site OGAP professional learning to address multiplicative reasoning for grades 3 to 5 teachers. And our new math coach will also assist teachers to implement a new standard curriculum and facilitate ongoing training for the new materials in the curriculum. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, my name is Beth Lorch, principal of Pownell. You'll see that goal 1 and goal 3 are similar, and that goal 1 says for ELA by June 2024, grades 3 through 6 will meet or exceed grade level norm projected growth rates in ELA as measured by MAP scores. And for goal 3, the same for math. So eliminating those, the red and yellow on the graphs that you saw earlier. So mathematics by June 2024, grades 3 through 6 will meet or exceed grade level norm projected growth rates in math as measured by MAP scores. For goal number 2, by June 2024, student behavior referrals for major incidents, so these will be incidents that result in in-school or out-of-school suspension on campus, will decrease in frequency from the first and second trimester to the final trimester, according to SRSS, i.e. benchmark data and our SWIS referral system. So action steps that we've set up in place at Pownell are a revised master schedule for this year with a continuous ELA time. So ELA instruction as well as interventions that take place in each grade level are continuous and not chopped up throughout the day. The start of the day begins with classroom check-ins with our teachers and students and a math activity to begin the day. Our second step curriculum scheduled weekly for each grade level. Protected ELA time for interventionists and all support staff members to work with grade level students. We have a ELA intervention coach who is working specifically with teachers and modeling. They meet weekly through our PLC meetings, including with administration, to review data and plan for the next week. And then we've been blessed with having an additional clinician this year. So we now are up to 2.5 days clinical support for our students that require clinical services.
So thank you. I'm Donna Colley. I'm the principal at Monument Elementary School. Pleased to share this data with you and our hopes and dreams for this coming year. So I want to thank our leadership team for getting together, looking at all our data and coming up with our goals for this year. So they are for all 2024 by June. Goal number 1, as my colleague Beth had shared, goal number 1 and goal number 3, you will see, are the same in those 2 areas. We're looking for a 10% reduction in our high-risk students. Can't remember what color it was equated to, in FastBridge grades K through 2.
Sorry, that's okay, I got it.
No, it's okay. I work on a Mac, so the PC is a little different. An increase of students and then an increase in students grades 3 through 5 scoring above the 50th percentile, okay, as compared to the national average. Our action step to meet that is we're going to continue to support the role of our reading specialist, our district reading coach, review our current master schedule to support student interventions, continue with our professional work in the science of reading, and implement consistent Tier 1 instruction aligned with the ELA curriculum and district-approved reading program. Our second SMART goal, again, by June 2024, we would like to see a decrease in internalizing and externalizing behaviors from the spring 2023-24 student risk screening scale. That's our SRSS assessment. We will also offer a 10% decrease in major behaviors from spring 2024 as documented through our SWIS data. That's our school-wide informational system. That's a platform that we gather and import all our data. And we are going to do that through these action steps. We'll continue to implement our current action steps and family engagement opportunities throughout the year. We'll develop and implement wraparound support for families and children through the counselor collaboration team, including school counselor, school community liaison, clinician, and wellness staff on an ongoing basis, and document support through student support plans, such as our educational support team, our 504 plans, and our student service plans. And the last goal is within the area of math. And we would like to again see a 10% reduction of our high-risk students scoring on the FAST Bridge, and then an increase of students in grades 3 through 5 scoring above the 50th percentile. We continue to support the role of our Title Math interventionists. We want to review our current master schedule to support students, student interventions. And we will continue with the implementation of our All Learners Network, add on-site OGAP trained professional learning to address multiplicative reasoning and support professional learning and implementation of the Bridges program, newly adopted to support the current math curriculum.
Superintendent Cookie?
One, I want to thank the principals for gathering, especially in putting this together, especially during a very busy start of the school year. I want to publicly thank our principals collectively for the start of the school year, which, judged from phone calls into my office, has gone pretty smooth. So I'm sure if we asked them individually, there might be some snags, but especially with the onboarding of how many new staff members that we had, and the training that's required to go with that. So thank you. And we will go back next month to the practice that we had before COVID, that we'll physically have one principal here a month to give their report. We'll rotate them, and the rest will submit a report in writing to be included in the packet. So and we kind of got away from that with COVID, and this is probably, we haven't had a start like this since 2019. So that's how long it's been, which just seems amazing to say. So thank you. I only have a couple of other items. I am pleased to announce that the SVSU did hire an equity coordinator. His name is Michael Taylor, and the T and the M there. And he started on Thursday, and I will, once I introduce him to the SU meeting, then I will bring him to all meetings. So begin an introduction, and going to be starting around to all the schools. I'm thrilled that we've been able to refill that position. Last month, I mentioned our staff guide, which was going to be given out on the bus tour. Inside of that is also the speaker series, which board members are invited to come to. So staff guide, as I mentioned last month to you, it's a new endeavor. It is our first attempt at it, first draft. I'm sure it will become a living document that will get reprinted as things change, and including maybe some staff in there. Does the board have any questions of me?
Board members that work for any of our building principals? Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So agenda item 10 is chair report. We'll keep it brief. Based on what I've heard from friends with little ones, from community members.
The principals are free.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to say nice things about you in a moment. You can spell.
Let's hang around.
I'll say that
Tell them
first.
why you can.
I'll say first, I'm just really pleased. I think it feels like it's been a while since we've had the start of a year where the bench of principals it's felt very positive. I think that there's a lot of competency, there's a lot of experience. We have, some new faces in these positions. We have some returning. I think this is great. I'm really excited for the school year. Thanks already for the smooth start to the school year, and thanks also for the good things that we know are going to be happening. Now you can split it.
Thank you.
And just what I was saying is that hearing from community members, hearing from friends with little ones, no complaints. And I usually hear some complaints, but I've heard no complaints. Great. So
Wonderful.
I'm really pleased with that.
Thank you,
It's
everyone.
great to see everyone
Give the board.
in person.
So the last agenda item is an FYI. It just refers to our budget status report, enrollment numbers. So with an exhausted agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah, please.
Add on the meeting next week, we talked about it overtime, the school choice, we said we'd get back and,
Is
policy.
that on the agenda?
Yeah, we can put that on the agenda, just to start talking about it
Yeah, absolutely.
before it comes to March again and not taken care of.
And
And I think we should definitely warn that as, so the community knows. So when you talk about it, sure.
As a agenda item.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. So now let's adjourn. So I would need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make it.
Thank you, Susan. We second. Thank you, Scott. Any discussion about adjourning? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.